Hey there and welcome back to another Disney video. And recently, I was just trawling through Wikipedia articles, as you do, just reading random stuff, when I stumbled across a Wikipedia article for a George Clooney film called The Descendants from like 2010 or something like that. Irrelevant, who cares? Anyway, this did something to my brain. Those neurons started firing, and a memory sparked to life. A memory I had long hoped to forget. My memories of the dankest franchise of all time, The Descendants. A Disney Channel trilogy of TV films that tells the story of the children of all the heroes and villains of the various different animated Disney classics. And yeah, all of those memories started coming back. And I couldn't help but think, what the hell is this shit? Why did they make these movies? Why do people like these movies? What is it about them that I'm somehow missing? I honestly feel like I'm insane. Like I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the YouTube clips and I'm thinking, what? But my response to this, my thoughts on these films, it doesn't seem to link up with the reality of the situation. Like, I thought, I bet these films were torn apart by critics. But apparently, the world is intent on gaslighting me. What are you talking about? These films aren't bad. You're crazy, man. After all, the first film somehow has a 90% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score of 67%, which, yeah, okay, somehow. The second film, well, surely everybody came to their senses after that was released, right? Nope. 71% and 70%, audience and critics. The third one, 78 and 65, which, sure, why not? Why not? Guess this is my life now. But honestly, I can't accept it. It's a travesty of justice. And yeah, maybe I'm coming across here as the fun police, but my God, I don't even care anymore. These films are haunting me. So I have to get this poison out of my system. There's so much to discuss. But I guess one of the biggest one is the storyline and the script and the characters. Oh. Okay, so as I said, there's a lot to unpack. For starters, the story follows up 20 years after all these fairy tales apparently occur. They occurred all at once as well. Despite many of them being set at completely different points in history, they all happened at the same time. So you're telling me that in this universe, 101 Dalmatians happened at the exact same time as Sleeping Beauty, or Beauty and the Beast, or Peter Pan. Like, what? Come on. But yes, apparently it all happened at the same time, and we're expected to suspend our disbelief. They also live in a pseudo-modern society, where apparently they've all decided to just give up their crowns, their ancestral thrones, to just form a United States of Oregon. And that's good. Democracy, I'm loving it. But turns out, no, they've given the crown to Beast, a man who was so selfish that he was cursed to be a monster. That's who they've chosen to be the king of this place. Okay, sure. Don't choose any of the other potential royalty that would have been a much safer choice, who seem to be nice in their versions of the Disney classics, no? Choosing Beast? I too like to live dangerously. I mean, maybe they assumed that Belle would be a very good queen. Maybe. Also, I can't remember. Do they call him by a name in this thing, or is he just called Beast? King Beast? Despite him, being a man? What's going on? Anyway, 20 years after all of that, he's decided to abdicate the throne. Guess there's going to be an election or something. They're bringing through a president. Democracy. Let's go! Nope, it's still an autocracy. They're putting their son, Ben, on the throne. And seriously, Ben, son of King Beast. You're French, dog. You can do better than that. Also, this guy hasn't even finished high school. What are they thinking? They're thrusting this kid into the rule of a whole kingdom when he's in high school, hasn't even graduated, has no degree, no diploma yet. Does he know anything about politics and history, economics, diplomacy, anything you need to be an adequate ruler of a country? No? He's still in high school. Come on. But apparently this kid, compared to his parents, is not a piece of shit. And compared to literally every other adult character in this entire film. As it seems all the villains have been locked away in a penal colony for life. Okay, sure, that seems fair enough. They were evil villains. I can accept it. Place looks like a slum, it's dirty, it's decrepit, but I get it. But the flip side on that, apparently any children who are born to these parents are kept there too, for life. I mean, the evil queen of all people has a daughter. And the fact that Evie wears her own little crown, despite the whole, queen thing coming from the fact that her mother would have had to marry the king to become a queen, and the king was Snow White's dad, it would imply that Evie also has to be the king's daughter, right? The second daughter. And so Snow White has left her half-sister to rot in a prison for her entire life. Damn. Also, Evie, the daughter of the Evil Queen. Come on. Also, Jay, Mal, and later on in one of the other films, there's Dizzy, the daughter of Drizella. Come on. What is this trash? Apparently this shit was written by established Hollywood screenwriters. It feels like it's straight off fanfic.net. But yeah, anyway, back on topic. The children grow up in a penal colony raised by evil people. And apparently that's A-okay. And it takes this teenager to tell us, ooh, maybe that's not very humane. And so he comes up with a plan to let 4 children come and live in Oridon, I think it's called. Just 4. The rest can just stay there and rot, I suppose. And of course, their parents try to convince them to do evil things and free them from prison. Mal uses magic to get popular. She uses a love spell on the soon-to-be king. They romance. She legit falls for him. She removes the spell. And instead of being, upset about losing his ability to consent, the dude reveals, well, actually, I already had a crush on you, so who cares about that whole spell thing? Bygones be bygones. Meanwhile, Evie falls for local nerd Doug, the non-dwarf son of a dwarf. And I mean, how does that even work? Aren't magical dwarves a different species? Whatever, I don't even care. Carlos's main arc is overcoming his fear of dogs by befriending a tiny dog. And Jay, son of Jafar, is just there. He doesn't really have much of an arc. Also, Mulan's daughter's named Lonnie. Lonnie, come on now. But yeah, they face off with the villains, the generic love interest tells Mal to choose her own path, yada yada yada, kaboom, they win the end. And then the second film comes along, and it's just as weird. Pretty much a stock standard plot you'd expect from this sort of franchise. Mal, our main character, is feeling boxed in and under pressure from needing to be a good person all the time, and this leads her into conflict with her boyfriend, the new king, and so she returns to the Isle of the Lost, when she encounters a bunch of other villain children who are understandably pissed off that they were not chosen to go to Oridon and get a chance at a normal and happy life. Of course, they clash, and once again, poor Ben gets love potioned and loses his ability to consent, and it's also revealed that the bar for villains in this world is pretty damn low, because it turns out one of the gang's friends here on the island is a little girl, the daughter of one of the wicked stepsisters of Cinderella. The wicked stepsisters are in prison for life. And I get why the others were put on the prison island, right? But being a bad sister, that gets her life imprisonment and her child life imprisonment too? Cinderella, that's cold. Anyway, at the end, Ursula's daughter turns into a giant octopus and she fights Mal, who's a giant dragon, in a very terrible CGI battle. And then everybody's friends again. Good times. But hey, at least at the end, they agree to allow another couple of children to get out of the penal colony. Isn't that just nice and kind and generous? Another 4 kids? 8 whole kids? And then there's the third one. I don't even know what they're doing at this point. One of the princesses is mad that she isn't marrying the prince anymore or some shit, and she goes crazy and leads a coup. Really not much else to say about the plot. It has to be the most generic of the bunch. And it falls into the classic bait that sequels of these sort of films always have. The scorned ex of the main love interest character becomes the next big villain. And then she gets completely forgiven at the end, which is rather baffling. But yeah, the plot for this one is equally as ridiculous as previous. And at the end, they just completely remove the barrier and just let all of the villains merge back into society. Surely there needs to be some oversight here. There is a good middle ground. Why are they not searching for that? Right? These people, a lot of them are murderers. What's going on here? Also, side note, we really still with Doug, son of Dopey, being Evie's legit true love. Come on. This dude? Also, what happened with his hair? Shaking my damn head. But yeah, the storylines, they're so weird. So deeply, truly weird. What were they on when they wrote this stuff? Who thought that combining modern American culture with classic fairy tales of various different cultures in a way that didn't come across as a complete parody was a good idea? Oh, I'm still feeling queasy about King Ben. Ugh. And so yeah, the story aside, everything about these films is baffling and bad and cringe except the songs. I'll be legit, there are some bangers on the soundtrack. You cannot deny the glory of it. But that's it. Everything about those numbers is bad. The dancing. Oh, what's going on here? What is this? How is this dancing? It's just moving. It's just flailing. The sets. Ugh, low budget indeed. Disney, lift your game. Hell, the context of the story and the songs. Ugh. I mean, there's one where Ben serenades Mal at a football game or a pep rally or something. I don't know. I'm not rewatching it. And it is very cringe. His awkward dancing, the obviously dubbed over singing, like it's impossible to suspend the disbelief that this man is actually singing this song. The idea with a musical film is you're meant to forget that the actors are lip syncing and recorded in studio. But it's so obvious here, especially in that song. Plus the acting is bad. It's bad. And I'm sure many of them are good actors. I'm not going to disparage them, but I guess there's only so much you can do with such a woeful script and the terrible dialogue. Oh, I have no idea how they managed to even finish filming the first one. How do you not crack up laughing every time in a film like this? And then the costumes, whew! And then, just as an aside, dishonourable mention to the cover of Be Our Guest, more specifically to their dancing during it. It's terrible, it's cringe, it sapped my will to live. So yeah, who is watching these thinking, oh yeah, that's quality cinema? Who? How did 3 of them get made? It's like it's High School Musical, but worse. In every single way. Because, you know, High School Musical is cringe, right? But it knows it's cringe. It's leaning into that sort of Glee Club vibe. And because they lean into it, because they accept it's very cringe, it kind of becomes less cringe. If you get what I mean. And maybe my nostalgia is blinding me there, but that's just my perception. This just feels so deeply cringe. In every single way possible. How could they have possibly milked 3 of these? How? And there's rumours of a 4th film? Not only that, but after a trip to the Wikipedia article for the franchise, it's clear this thing has somehow just oozed money. It has animated spin-offs and prequels and novels. I just don't get it. But oh well. That's the end of my rant, the end of the video. I'm gonna close the book on this and hopefully never think about it again. But before we do that, I would like to say that these have just been my opinions and now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of The Descendants if you've seen it? Do you also think it's an abomination? Or do you think it's actually a masterpiece and I'm missing out? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe and let me know.